Hello and welcome to Web Relates. Today we're looking at the AskReddit subreddit, where Known Pop has asked, what was your I'm dating / married to a bloody idiot moment? Entertainment Odd says, girl I was dating was making nachos and shredding cheese. She cuts herself and blood gets on the cheese and the shredder. As she gets a band-aid, I pick up the cheese and as I am throwing it away, she freaks out as I now may have AIDS. Like, what? She is hard freaking out that I just got exposed to AIDS and I needed to get medical attention. After talking, it turns out that she thought AIDS was everywhere, like any blood outside the body could just magically get it. Her stupidity was a relief that night. Apuli says, we served in the US Peace Corps together in Uganda. One day, it was really sunny out, like we lived within 50 miles of the equator sunny. She says, the moon is going to be really bright tonight. I asked what she meant, and she said since it's so sunny, the moon is absorbing all the light and will illuminate brighter when it's dark. We argued about this and ended up talking to her mother on the phone. She confirmed her daughter's hypothesis. Shame. I actually don't fault her too much for this one. We know the moon reflects the sun's light. I can kind of see the jump in logic happening there. So incorrect, but coming more from a place of misinformation. Ultraviolet Blueberry says, this one is a bit obscure, but when you go to a hotel to check in, you tell them your full name, or at least your last name, so they can look you up. The guy I was dating at the time and I had booked a hotel somewhere and we got there. They asked his name. He only gave them his first name, which is very generic. What's your full name? Again, gives them just his first name. So we need your full name to look you up. Yeah, but the reservation is under my name, first name here. I had to intervene and tell them they needed his last name because there could be many guests by his first name. I was so shocked this was not common sense to him. Pina Pickle says, my partner was grunting and groaning at the bin. He said, we need new bin bags. These ones you've bought don't bloody fit. Went over to see what was going on, and he had a roll of small black dog poo bags in his hand, with one unfurled, trying to work out why it wouldn't fit in the bin. There were bin bags. He'd just picked up the wrong roll, and instead of realizing, tried to get a dog poo bag in a bin 50 times bigger. Ross the Ninja says, my ex thought wind turbines spun because they were powered by electricity. She has since got a degree, and I don't have one, so I'm not sure what that makes me. Castle of says, one day, my then fiancé was very angry with me without warning and started harassing me over, what are you going to do? How are you going to pay for our wedding? How? Basically accusing me of being broke or having no financial plan. After a whole day of me wondering what the heck is going on, she finally went through the numbers. According to this wedding magazine she borrowed from her friends, the average cost of a 200-guest wedding in Tokyo was $80,000 or so. And I did not have that kind of money, like, at all. And then I had to literal sit her down and use pen and paper to prove how much our wedding is costing, since I insisted it won't be as much. How much is the venue, ceremony, rentals? $2,500. How much is the meal going to cost per guest at the hotel restaurant? $50 to $70. And how much are the hotel rooms we're paying for? $150 a night. And how many people are attending the wedding? 13. All said and done, our whole wedding was going to be about $4,500 to $5,000. And we knew this. But after reading one magazine article about mega weddings in Tokyo, my fiancée convinced herself that ours had to cost that much too. Spent nearly 2 days stewing and angry with me before even explaining this was the reason for her hostility. She was easily influenced like this by anything. Friends' comments, overhearing old ladies' conversations on the train, clickbait news online, etc. And no, I did not go through with the wedding. Took me a long time to admit that her stupidity wasn't a charm point, but weaponized incompetence by an abuser. Weaponized incompetence, that's a new one. But at this point it just sounds like straight up incompetence, there was no intention behind it. Brodio says, my wife went to the store to get cilantro for our tacos. She came home with parsley. Easy mistake, they look similar if you don't look closely enough. I told her she bought parsley. She was convinced it was cilantro. I had her taste it. I showed her the tag on the bundle that said parsley. She reluctantly went back to the store to get cilantro. She came home with another bundle of parsley. I love this woman, but this moment I was questioning everything about her problem-solving skills. The good news is, she has never brought home parsley again. 4 Cats and Counting has replied, "One day I was making butter chicken curry, which my ex loved, and in the middle of cooking, realized I was out of yogurt. Sent him to the store to get some. He came back with blueberry flavored." Snow Ninja says, "My husband was feeling unwell and began Googling his symptoms. After a while of silence, he suddenly turns to me in a panic and says, 'I think I have preeclampsia.'" Jane Ray Mi Fa So La Ti Do has replied, "Kay, I'll be honest, when WebMD first was a thing, I, female 35, immediately jumped on it and put in any and all of my symptoms. Well, as we all know, they always give you the worst case scenario. And it did. It said I might have testicular cancer. I called my parents sobbing. They said I was a waste of private school education and hung up on me. Now look, in my only defense, my older brother had gynecomastia, so in my head I figured if my brother was born with tits, then maybe it was possible I was born with balls stuck somewhere inside me. I don't know. It seemed logical to me at the time. I don't know, I'd give that one to her. I can understand why it might be a reasonable concern given what happened with her brother. American Steel has said, "I dated a guy in college who visited me in my rural hometown and asked what the animals in the neighbor's field were. I said, 'Cows,' in a 'you must be crapping me' level of disbelief. He proceeded to tell me they can't be cows because cows are black and white, and these animals were all brown. I had to pull up Google to prove to him that brown cows existed. I could maybe understand if he'd been from a city, but he told me he was from a rural suburb, not a city, so I guess he was just an idiot." Tossaway has replied, "How long until he figured out that brown cows make chocolate milk?" East Least Coast has said, "Having a discussion with my wife about not using certain Christmas tree decorations because they were glass and we had small kids. She said, 'They're not glass.' I said, 'They are, though.' 'No, they're not. See?' Proceeds to drop one straight onto the hardwood floor. Smash. Silence. With the deadest straight face I have ever managed in my life. I'll get the broom. And that is why we are still married." Shornaldo says, "On a camping trip, she was worried about parking the car on the grass because she thought the grass was going to grow, puncturing and flattening the tires." Second Phase has replied, "It's literally called blades of grass, people. Protect your wheels." MG42 Turtle has said, "Girl I dated in college broke my laptop because she kept trying to get a USB drive in. Instead of, flipping it, she just pushed harder and harder until it broke my port and motherboard." Team Waffle Stomp says, "My husband went in Dollar General for toilet paper. We had maybe $50 to last the week. This man came back with $40 of mango juice because it was on sale. And no toilet paper. I drank the juice, but I was awfully salty about it." Hey, it was on sale. That means you're saving money, right? Lewittbox says, "Found out she was eating half-cooked pre-made pot pies because she broiled them every meal in the oven instead of baking it. She told me she hated that her oven burnt the top of each one and left the bottom doughy. She would eat the uncooked dough regardless." Atta Dongwomble says, "My high school boyfriend thought women got cramps from holding their menstrual flow, like you'd get cramps from holding urine. And women just go to the bathroom and force it out, like poop. Pads and tampons, they're just in case you can't hold it." Okay, now this is a particularly egregious example, but ladies, I need you to understand that high school boys are idiots, and we don't know anything, and we just assume things, and sadly, we need to be educated. Noisy Carlos says, "My college GF took me to her megachurch. Though I was a bit uncomfortable, I was open-minded. I have no problem with someone being religious, but when the pastor went, 'When Satan comes to get you, you put your hand up and tell him,' Satan, you can't take me because I tithe and give offerings to the church. The crowd erupted in cheers, and I instantly lost respect for all 3,000 of them, including my GF. Journey to Better Life says, my boyfriend at the time is American. I am Italian. The first time he met my father, he tried to impress him by speaking in my native language. Long story short, someone in his life failed him immensely because he genuinely was unaware Italy had a language of its own and assumed we spoke French. My dad was very confused. I laughed until I almost passed out. He was so embarrassed. In that moment, I knew I would love him forever. We get married this year, and he is determined to say his vows in Italian. Lol. Okay, I think that was a lovely story to end it off on. Thank you guys very much for watching. That's all for today. Sorry if the Wilhelm scream jump scared anyone, but I saw my chance and I took it. So if you enjoyed the content, please like, comment, and subscribe. And then I will see you guys in the next video. Cheers!